Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist. Here with some words of wisdom for our day, and actually wisdom is our word for the day. And I was interested that that's what popped up again. We've had this card, man, I think this is at least the third or fourth time in recent times. So again, when something comes up over and over and over, I encourage us to really prick up our ears and listen, because that message carries extra import. Good morning, Lisa. Glad you are here. Welcome. So again, we have the Priestess of Light deck, and welcome to whomever else just popped on. Might be Cindy. We'll see. And what I'd like us to do is go a little deeper first, opening ourselves. Yes, it's Cindy. Good morning, good morning. It looks like someone else is here too. Opening ourselves energetically to really receive this message. Because again, when they repeat, there's something we need to pick up from that. So let's just take a minute or two. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take some nice, deep belly breaths. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Judy. We're just settling into a deeper state of being so as to receive more of this message today. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, really opening yourself to this message. Preparing yourself to receive. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Beth. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're all here. Glad our little group is back together and sailing on through life here. And this message is really going to be helpful, I think. So, good morning, Joe. Welcome. Glad you're here. Breathing deeply, opening to receiving, feeling your heart space open as you breathe, feeling any defendedness, any armor that you've built up, releasing and relaxing. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Peggy. We're up to 12 already. This is awesome. Breathing ourselves into an open space of receiving. Receptivity. Again, that divine feminine. That's what we're aiming for. The divine masculine has had its run. Now we're going to balance it with divine feminine. We want both. So we want doing and being. We want giving and receiving. We want effort and flow. So that's what we're stepping into today. All right, so our card, as I said, we've had this at least 2 other times, if not more, recently. Sarasvati, wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. So, learning, joy, art, music. Those are the words that go along with this card. The goddess Sarasvati holds a musical instrument in 2 hands and extends her other arms outward in joy. Wouldn't that be handy to have a couple extra arms sometimes? Especially when you can extend them out in joy. She stands at the door to the temple, encouraging you to enter a new period of learning and exploration. So I want you to think about that just right now with your eyes closed. Yes, wisdom again. Here we are. So I want you to imagine that you are standing on the threshold. You're standing on the threshold, and behind you is your past life, what you've lived thus far. And before you is your future life, open for your creating. And in that doorway, that threshold that you're standing in, is the present moment, right here, right now. And it's in that present moment that's the only place that we have influence. We can't influence the past, it's done. We're not yet influencing the future other than through this present moment. So here you are, standing on this threshold. And if your future is like mine at this moment in time, and I think many of ours are, you can't see ahead. You can't see what's there in that future. It has yet to unfold. If you're lucky, you can maybe see a step or 2. But I think for many of us, it's kind of like that scene from that one Indiana Jones movie where he needs to step over the abyss and then the path rises to meet him. That's pretty intimidating, isn't it? But we can do this, and we already do this every single day. We step forward in faith and trust. We get up, right? We go about our day. All of that is without really being, good morning, Bonnie, glad you're here, really being able to see what's coming next. We may have ideas. We may think this is how things are going to go today. How often does that really unfold that way? Sometimes yes. Sometimes a little universal wrench gets thrown in there somehow. Well, I didn't expect that. That's okay. That's okay. That's kind of where our creativity is born, when we're looking at, okay, I wonder how this is going to work out. I wonder which path I want to take at this moment in time. All right? So there was a little segue. Now we'll go back to our card here. I'm going to read that sentence again, because to me that's the pivotal sentence of this reading. She stands at the door to the temple, encouraging you to enter a new period of learning and exploration. This card heralds a time of deepening wisdom for you. It may be gained through personal investigation. Google it. Google stuff. Look things up. If you have a I wonder if or I wonder why, Google it. See what information comes up. Is that the God's honest truth? Not necessarily, but it'll certainly give you more grist for your mill, right? Good morning, Lucy. Glad you are here. It may be gained through personal investigation or through school or other formal courses of study. I think it may also be gained, good morning, Deb, welcome, through interaction with nature, being willing to be out in our world, experiencing it. And nature has this way of moving us into our divine feminine state, our flow state. And that's really important right now. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here live. Good morning, good morning. We're up to 16 people. This is awesome. Glad you are all here. And what that tells me is this message is really important for all of us today. All 16 of you, for me, and for, we're hitting this wisdom card again. We're hitting this wisdom card again. There are no accidents. There's a reason that out of a 53 card deck, we have pulled this deck, yes, 16 people on live, many times in a row. The universe is talking to us. All right? So we want to pick up the message. We want to pick up what the universe is putting down, right? Don't dismiss the potential for learning. And that can be anything. Again, it can be Googling something. It can be having a conversation with somebody. Be that curious child that you were, who wanted to know everything. Why this and why that and why something else? Yes, wise crones. We are absolutely wise crones. And we are reclaiming that name crone. Crone, witch, hag, all those words that were denigrated for a period of time when a group of people became afraid of the power of women. All right? The wisdom and the power of women. We're choosing to use our power for good. Right? That's what we need to be doing now, using our power for good. I'm reading this amazing book. Let me see if I can see what the title is. Yes, How to Stand Up to a Dictator. Her name is Maria Ressa, R-E-S-S-A, and she is a journalist in the Philippines and lived through the Ferdinand Marcos era, etc., etc. Very important stuff. How do we stand up to our inner dictator? The part of us that says things like, you can't, this won't work, etc. And that made me think of Barbara. And let me see if we can pull a few things from here. We all have our internal critics, the part of us that tells us what we can't possibly do. Mine insists quite convincingly, you can't do that, you don't have what it takes. Those voices never shut up. But just because you hear voices in your head doesn't mean you have to follow them. As Vincent van Gogh once said, if you hear a voice within you say, you cannot paint, by all means, paint, and the voice will be silenced. Indeed, keep reminding yourself that's not my voice. It's the voice of a parent, the culture, teachers, friends, something out there, but it isn't mine. Oh, thank you for putting up the Maria Ressa link. Good morning, Jennifer. Glad you're here. So, and this is Barbara Stanny, S-T-A-N-N-Y, and she does women's financial education, and she's an amazing person. Simply say to that voice, "Thank you for sharing," and start replacing the old voice with different, more positive statements, a personal mantra or affirmation. The ones I keep repeating are, "Of course I can handle this," and "It's so easy." And I keep saying those words with utter conviction, even if I don't fully believe them. Because if you say something long enough, you're going to start believing it. Pick a mantra. Pick something that helps you. Like mine currently is stop doing, start being. Because I'm a little human doobie, and it's time for that to change. Here's what invariably happens. As I repeat those phrases over and over again, the voices gradually disappear. My resistance begins to fade. How many of us have said, "I know I need to do that, but I just can't get myself to do it"? That's resistance. Resistance begins to fade, and I watch myself proceed almost effortlessly. What does the negative voice in your head say, and what will you replace it with? So that's from Barbara Stanny, and I just thought that was awesome. Good morning, Sue. Glad you are here. Glad you are here. I'm plotting my way through wisdom, learning joy, art, and music. Wisdom. So it's that same card that we've had previously, Sarasvati. There she is with all her arms, being joyful and making music. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. So, it's possible that your path of study will relate to some form of art or music. One of the values of that whole realm, art, music, etc., literature, is that it taps a different part of our brain than when we're logicking our way through something, okay? And that part of our brain, that creative part of our brain, has massive power, and massive power in a different way than our logical brain has. We want both online, but we've so defaulted to that logic part of us, which has its own limitations. We need to make a partnership out of that logic part and that creative part. Get them working together, all right? That was something fun I did on my vacation on the plane. You now can watch TV on the plane, and I don't have a TV, so I never watch TV. But I love HGTV and those house flipping shows. And what I noticed is that most of the teams on there, one of the people is the creative force behind it, and the other person is the, "Well, we can't do it that way, but we could maybe do it this way. Let me try something and I'll see if this works, blah, blah." So you have the logic person and the creative person. And one of the things that I note about them, sorry it keeps freezing up, Beth. I think if you go back, it'll be straight through, is that they appreciate each other's way of being. Even though it's not how they are, they appreciate the other person's way of being. Again, when we were talking about the four horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of marriage, the biggest thing that kills a marriage is being critical of your partner's way of being condescending and just chitty about how they do what they do. Even if it's different than how you do things, if you can be appreciative of that other way, it's far more likely your marriage is going to survive. All right? So, art and music. If you have an interest in these or other creative endeavors, now would be the time to dive right in. And there's so much stuff online. You can take classes. Good morning, Cheryl. You can take classes on pretty much anything. My dream job is going sideways. How do I use wisdom to navigate through the changes? I believe the biggest thing many of us are being called to right now is, to use a phrase, biding time. Biding time. We want to jump in, fix it, make stuff happen, know the next step, etc. And right now is not the time for that. Energetically, we are being called to bide our time, to breathe into what is, not fighting it, not saying it ought to be different, breathing into what is, acknowledging this is how it is right here, right now. And if this dream job is going sideways, allow it to go. Allow it to go. And hold on loosely. There's that song, hold on loosely, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. Hold on loosely. I wonder where this is going to take us. And there may be a point where you say, allow it to go. What is means things exactly as you perceive them to be right now. So you're not trying to change what is right now. You're just allowing it to be. And that so runs counter to how we typically do things, right? We're taught, if you don't like something, fix it. In this case, in this period of time, I think we're being called to allow it to be what it is. And the universe will give us our steps as we go. I know I'm not going to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now within a year, but I don't know yet what I will be doing in that year. And I trust that the divine will lead me where I'm supposed to go. Yes, going with that flow. I need to do that now. Yes. So let me give you something you can do that will be helpful. On my website, empowermentandpurpose.com, if you go to my website, and I think it's the third or fourth tab over, there's a drop down, and it is my blog posts. And in my blog posts, go looking for the one called Row, Row, Row Your Boat Gently Down Life's Stream. And it's all about this. It's all about what I'm talking about right now. Being in flow, being willing to be with what is, being willing to practice acceptance, knowing that change is coming and it will be delivered to us. We don't have to hunt it down, okay? So that's kind of what I'm saying, all right? Take a class, go to a museum, or surround yourself with the music and art forms that bring you joy. So for instance, on the front page of the paper today, there was something being announced, an event this coming Saturday. And I took a picture of the article and sent it to my daughter and said, I would go to this with you if you want to go. It's one of those things where I feel there's going to be some opportunities there. There's going to be some opportunities there. And sometimes I've had those things where I feel called to go somewhere or do something, and I go, and I can't quite figure out, well, what was it I was meant to get out of this? I don't know what I was, but I trust that there was something there for me, that even if it moved me subconsciously, that's okay. It was designed to move me, and I was meant to be there. So listen within. As you're reading the paper, does some event jump at you? As you're driving in your car, do you hear a little message of, yeah, you've never gone in that store, go in there? As you're out for your walk for the day, do you hear go left instead of right? Heed those messages, because the universe is nudging you in a direction, okay? I had a friend who I met in a writing class in Denver, I think we were, and it was a Bill O'Hanlon writing class, and she had just finished her book, and her book was about her husband had died, she'd quit her job. She, every morning, would put on her tennis shoes, go stand on the curb, and wait for her feet to tell her which direction to go that day. That's following the wisdom. That's following the guidance. So we need practice with that. You could do that. Go stand outside and wait for your feet to tell you which direction to go today. Kind of cool, huh? So also on this card, down at the bottom, you can see the swans. So that's the part we're talking about next. The swan represents the connection between mind and heart. And as you open your mind to greater understanding and to joyous new experiences, your heart will glow with inner satisfaction. Again, remember, we want to be living heart-led lives, not thought-led lives, because our thoughts can run amok with us. So when we center ourselves in our hearts and allow our mind to be the faithful servant of our heart and soul, then we're heading in a good direction. Okay? Let's see here. In addition, your life force will sing with beauty, grace, and irresistible attraction. In addition, your life force will sing with beauty, grace, and irresistible attraction. So one of the things I've been doing lately, when I'm working on something but it's not on the computer, I bring up a nature picture. So I went to Pexels or some of the other sites, and I just pick out a nature picture and let that on my screen so I have something to look at that's beautiful and draws me into the expansiveness of the universe and helps me dream bigger than I would if I were looking at just words on a page. Okay? So here is our affirmation. You ready for this? I always choose to learn and grow. I always choose to learn and grow. The music and art of life inspires me. So, your mission for today is to do something that's creative. Maybe you like to draw. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you like to paint. Maybe you like to arrange flowers. Maybe you like to clean up your desk. Whatever it is, something that's creative. And just setting that intention that in that creative endeavor, you are expanding your thought process. You are expanding into that receptivity to the messages that the universe sends us all the time. And a lot of time we miss them because we're too busy bustling about. So that is your mission for today. I will see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are, including choosing to always learn and grow. Bye-bye.